Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for a New Zealand derby in Super Rugby Pacific. This one, the Chiefs taking on the Highlanders. Now, the Chiefs, compared with the lineup that they initially announced, they have actually got quite a few drastic changes compared to that starting side. So we will look through, of course, first at the home side here. The Chiefs currently sitting in second place. If they do win this game and they win it comfortably, there is a chance they go above the Crusaders at the end of this round. But this was the initial lineup, and I will read you off what the lineup is now. So Aidan Ross, Brodie McAllister, and George Dyer still going to be the front row. Ngātoa Akoi alongside Tupavai in the locking duo with Finau, Jerome Brown, and Jacobson as the number 8. I'm just realising this seems like the right lineup. I think that the lineup that I had originally was wrong, but this one is now right. So I guess we'll just go with it. Xavier Rowe and Damien McKenzie, they'll be the 19 combination. Quintapai and Daniel Rona in the midfield with Leroy Carter and Moni Narawa out on the right wing and Sean Stevenson at number 15. In terms of this Highlanders starting lineup, Ethan de Groot at number 1, Henry Bell at 2, although I will mention de Groot is a late injury change. They have gone with Daniel Leonard-Brown in the starting lineup here for the Highlanders, so I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe an injury of some sort, but it does mean that he will be out of the starting side. Henry Bell at number 2 with Sefo Kautai at 3. Mitchell Dunshea and Fabian Holland in the locking duo. It's going to be a great battle between Holland and Tupavai, two men jockeying for that AB's lock-in jersey. Haig, Lasanga and Renton to make up the loose forward trio. Falau Fakatava alongside Cam Miller as the 19 combo. Timothy Tavatanawai and Thomas Umanga Jensen in the middle. And then Jonah Nareki Philemoni out on the wing, got himself 2 tries on debut last week. Yes, they were both run-ins, but he still had to be right place, right time. Was able to do just that. And Jacob Ratamata-Buki Nipkins at number 15 for the Highlanders as well. In the chat, we have got their Chiefs now third due to Brumbies win. But if they win, they will get back to at least second, says Novmum. That is true. Looking through at the table, the way that it currently sits, as you can see there, the Chiefs, because of that points differential, if they do win this game with a bonus point, they will move right back to top of the log. If they win this game just in general, they will move back to second above the Brumbies. Yeah, the big win for the Crusaders over the Blues. And tell you what, after a couple of the earlier results today, the table has become even more wide open. Theoretically, one game could put Moana Pacifica right up to 6th, or at least somewhere nearby it. And just looking at what happened earlier for them, it's going to have to be quite the turnaround. First of all, though, the Highlanders, their last 2 games, they were beaten by the Force. They then beat the Fijian draw in quite a comfortable win, 43 points to 20. Next week, they've got their South Island derby up against the Crusaders, so they'll want to be on form for that contest. For the Chiefs, they were able to get themselves the win over the Reds, but then were defeated by the Waratahs, 21 points to 14. They got themselves a bonus point from that game. I'm sure there would have been quite a bit of disappointment from that fixture too. They had many handling errors, many mistakes that were costing them, and let's be honest, the Waratahs, that full field try that they scored was absolutely phenomenal. They've got the Force next week, the Chiefs as well. But looking through at what happened this round, Crusaders getting themselves the win on Friday night up against the Blues, 25 points to 22. That one coming down to a last-minute kick from James O'Connor to be able to seal the deal. Just recently today, the Drua getting themselves their first win since beating the Chiefs. Now, it's quite interesting. The game up against the Chiefs, we only covered half the match, and the Drua won. This match we didn't cover, and the Drua won. So I'm starting to see a bit of a trend this season. It seems to be when we don't commentate the Drua games, they actually do a lot better than when we do commentate them. So hopefully that isn't a trend that does continue. The Brumbies, great win over Moana Pacifica, winning at 24-0, looking comfortable and in wet conditions as well. They made the most of it. Now, the good news is this game at FMG does not look like the wet conditions are going to affect it too much, although an evening game, of course, you're going to have a little bit of slipperiness as well. I arranged to meet her Tinder date at the gym, but she didn't turn up. I don't think we're going to work out, says Dame Set Match. The thing is, you had me in the first half. I was thinking, because you're getting into your Hulk Hogan costumes for the sevens and whatnot, I thought you'd probably end up finding a gym gal for yourself. But yeah, good pun at the end there. I'll give you credit for that. Morning, chaps. I got a bet on the Highlanders to not lose by more than 2 tries. Says on the right. And also, how's it, Hamish? Says Anthony. Welcome on up the mighty Chiefs. I Hamish, I all. And also, we have got there. I want the Highlanders to win tonight. Says Chris Hayes. I've heard quite a few Crusaders supporters say that same thing. And I know why. It's because they want that little bit of separation between them and second place. But the thing is, I don't necessarily, of course, number one's great to be on the table, right? But I also have that feeling that you're probably the most unlikely to know who you're going to play up till the final round, because there's like 7 teams at the moment that could finish 6th. So you could be well and truly blindsided heading into that playoff game. The good news, though, is even if you lose when you're ranked number 1, you still go through to the next stage. 81% chance that the Chiefs win this game according to the live probability. The Highlanders will be kicking off this one from right to left, wearing their maroon kit. Nicely taken by Naitoa Koi. About 30 metres out from his own line. Is it 7 p.m. there? It's 8 a.m. Yes, is on the right. Yep, so we are sitting 7:05 p.m. for the kickoff of this contest. Next game will be Force versus Hurricanes, and that is kicking off at 9:35, so that'll be 10:35 for yourself. It's going to be kicked downfield from Xavier Rowe. He's had quite the season already so far. Jacob Ratamaitavuki Nepkins tries to step around Leroy Carter. I will mention no Caleb Tangitau in this Highlanders lineup, which sadly means we don't get to see Carter versus Tangitau, the two Sevens boys going at it. Now, Falau Fakatava going to be rolling this one back. We'll go with a box kick. Hasn't got a huge amount of length on it. Oh, Tava Nawai having a bit of a slip and slide, and it's gone backwards off the hands of Ollie Haig. So it does look relatively slippery out there at the moment. Fakatava tries to kick, but Stevenson is back in the fullback jersey. Gives it a massive kick downfield. Well claimed by Jonanariki. Chiefs by 21 and Chiefs by 12. Other two predictions there. Chiefs are a great side, no question, says Kevin. That is correct. Yeah, they've been finding their feet. Like, yes, they're coming off a loss to the Tars, and I feel like a lot of people won't let that one go for a while. But when you look through at the squad and the names that have been developing out of this Chiefs side, you know, they are definitely one of the favourites for winning this season. I don't want to say the favourite. I think, believe it or not, at the start of the season, that was the Blues. And they're probably still not a mile off. But, yeah, currently 100 seconds in, and Quintupai was just a little bit too close to the sideline there. So did get wrestled into touch. Henry Bell now going to have himself this line-out throw. Fabian Holland, he has had 4 line-out steals throughout this season compared to Tupavai's 1. Cam Miller was waiting for that one and does send it high. Going up for it, Jacob Ratamaitavuki Nepkins knocks it backwards, and Hugh Renton for the second time in this match already has been able to jump on the loose ball. Thomas Umaga Jensen runs it straight out to Tupai and Rona. Off to the left, Henry Bell, quite able to sneak through. Are you able to quickly go through the teams and see how many ABs are playing today? Says on the right, so we will put the teams up again. One moment. Go like that. There we go. So that is the Chiefs lineup for this contest. So they've got quite a few guys who were in that All Blacks environment last year. Even someone like Moni Narua, who didn't really get a huge amount of minutes near the end of the year as he got taken out of the side. Some felt like maybe he shouldn't have ever been taken out of the team, but he was one of the unlucky guys and did lose a spot, as he gives away a penalty here that then leads to the Highlanders deciding to take the first 3 of the game. But saw the high kick initially that gave the Highlanders a little bit of territory, and then, yeah, just rushing up. In fact, it might have been, was it Rona there or Stevenson? One of those two. It might have not actually been Amoni Narua who got himself offside there. And then for the Highlanders, they've always been the side, or at least recently, that had struggled to get names in the All Blacks. We saw Ethan de Groot, of course, in there. Fabian Holland's on the verge. A lot of people are high on him. Falau Fakatava, maybe he even finds himself in the side this year due to, I guess, a lack of form in the 9 jersey across the board. Like, there have been some great options, of course, but no one's really stood out like they did last year, if that makes sense. And then also Timofi Nawai, Jacob Ratamaitavuki Nepkins, those 2 guys both considered as possible bolters for this AB side. That kick has gone over. It's going to make the score now 3 points nil. Hi, Hamish and everyone. Thank you for the live stream. Says John, no worries at all. And up the Chiefs says Colossus, and into you, Kiwi lads, everyone. Says Spider Mick. And there as well. But a nice slap back from Quintupai, which now gives the ball back to the Chiefs. So actually good ball retention off their own kicks for both sides throughout the first 4 minutes. McKenzie drops that ball, but it goes backwards, which is the complete opposite to what happened last week. It seemed like no matter what, that man could not avoid a knock on. Naitoa Akoi going to be held up here. It's a maul, says the referee, so I believe unless this ball comes out, which it does not, the Highlanders will get themselves a scrum. Highlanders have a reputation of playing safe. No mistakes and no bad decisions, says on the right. But the big question is, will that get you in the top 6? With so many competitive sides, the Highlanders are right on the verge of getting in there because, I mean, we saw the recent loss for the Waratahs, so that stops them from jumping up into 4th. The Force are playing the Hurricanes, so that means only one of those two sides can move up. So the Highlanders theoretically could finish this round in the top 6 if they get the win and then the Hurricanes also beat the Force. But, of course, no guarantees. Hurricanes have quite the hard run to the end of the competition. They've got 3 away games up against the Reds, Brumbies and the Western Force. All sides within that top 6. Pack weights, 1 kg difference, 903 Highlanders, 904 for the Chiefs in this match. Now, Tava Nawai tries to draw in bars with Thomas Umaga Jensen, who really didn't look like he was ready for the pass. I think Tava Nawai probably a bit confused about that one. Of course, normally he's known for his crash ball running. Umaga Jensen probably just saying to him, look, mate, I thought you were just going to run that rather than pass it off to me. But no, that was actually a really nice bit of draw and pass from Timothy Tava Nawai. Geez, it's a physical one this game, says David the Mod. Yeah, I mean, we've seen plenty of injuries already this round of Super Rugby, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's another couple after the way that these two sides have come out firing. We do get to see another scrum here. This time it is the Chiefs who will be feeding it in 40 metres out from the Highlanders line. So they've got Damian McKenzie situated straight behind the scrum with Amoni Narawa just to his right. I would not be surprised if they decide to go with the Luke Jacobson. In fact, they're not even going to get the chance to. The knee has gone down in the front row. I believe it was Daniel Leonard Brown, I want to say, who does get penalised for that one, the late inclusion into the lineup. And they will call for the shot here, the Chiefs. Now, last week, we actually saw the Chiefs turn down a few three-pointers. They were going aggressive at times up against the Tars, as most sides in Super Rugby Pacific do. Just being able to break it up a little bit might actually be not a bad thing here for the Chiefs. Definitely with this tempo. Neither of these sides will still be able to go this pace at 80, I wouldn't think. McKenzie with his first strike of the day. And brother versus brother. Says a Novmum there. And yeah, sadly we don't get to see Leonard Brown in the starting lineup. Instead, to wait for him to make his way off the bench later on. And McKenzie has got that kick. Which is now going to make the score after 7 minutes, 3-3 between these two sides. My take on the back three for the All Blacks. Tawai still stiff. JKP. Highlanders still young. I prefer Nariki. And we have got there, he knows where the try line is. And keeps it simple. Narawa still not informed. Carter, good but nah. Okay, so in that case, you've said no to, I think there's about 4 wingers. So who are your wingers in that case? I assume you've got maybe 3 or 4. So I'm curious because, you know, the ones that you haven't listed, some of those guys are actually out of form as well. So it's a bit of a tricky one for that wing position. Can you call Caleb Clark in or out of form if he doesn't touch the ball each game that he plays at the moment? The Blues don't seem to go out to that wing anymore. Nicely taken by Cam Miller at the back. Goes across to Jacob Ratamatabuki Nepkins. And McKenzie wanted to go up for it, but Philemoni was taller, so does manage to win the ball now, though. Leroy Carter breaking the line, pure pace, getting around the outside of Cam Miller. Still going here, Leroy Carter, up to about 15 metres out. Lasanga trying to lock himself over the ball, can't quite do it. Jerome Brown, all the momentum on the side of the Chiefs. Quintabaya cuts back inwards and just short of the try line by a metre. Xavier Rowe looking for his pass. I don't think that was the right choice. Goes to McKenzie, who weighs about 4 kgs and does not get any closer to the try line. Now sitting 5 metres out. I think the Chiefs, they are still in the prime position, but maybe they blew that opportunity to be able to get them while the Highlanders were scrambling. Getting a bit closer there, Aiden Ross. Rowe goes back across to Tapia, very close to the line. Pops out the back for Amoni Narawa, who does score it. And the Chiefs get the first one of the match. And McKenzie World Class says, David the Mod, I'm feeling like the Highlanders will grab the win tonight against all odds, really. And I lean a little bit to the Chiefs, Sammy. Says Spider Me, but Amoni Narawa, he gets his second try of the season. The assist definitely goes to that massive Leroy Carter run from inside of his own half. Probably makes about 55 metres in the process. The Chiefs have a bit more muscle and a bit more speed and a bit more ball. Hard to beat. Sears on the right. He was turning ankles inside out. That run, Leroy Carter, and then it actually popped out the back in favour of the Chiefs. Actually made it a bit easier for Amoni Narawa up against a not really set Highlanders defence, and that kick has gone over. 2 from McKenzie, making the score now 10 points to 3 for the Chiefs. But now, only 10 minutes gone in this contest, and already I would think that both of these sides are starting to feel it a little bit, definitely with line breaks like that. Every human, says Drake, and we have got our low, says Sebastian. And there, welcome in, mate. We have got 3 more matches throughout the night, so I'm sure we will see you at all hours of the day. But yeah, hopefully you are excited for those upcoming matches. I will ask you, I don't actually know, so if they've played and they've lost, I apologise for the question, but the Quins, who are they playing this weekend, and have they played them, or are they playing later on tonight? But now, 30 metres out from the line here for the Chiefs. Can't believe my draw won a game for once. It's because I didn't commentate it, Optimus. Or maybe it's because you weren't able to comment about it. Might be the combination. Last time that they won was up against the Chiefs. We only covered half that game. So I think starting to see a trend with the drawer. Pressure of the live stream's just too much for them. Jonah Nareki almost gone through, but nice low tackle. Playing the Sharks today. Ooh, that'd be a tough game, won't it? Sale Sharks aren't in terrible form at the moment. Are you calling me the Antichrist? Says Optimus. You said it, not me. I just said that they seem to go better when you weren't talking about them. Watch the draw, Hammy. Make me laugh in the end when the ref awarded a penalty try. Funny as. Says at Spider Mick. And now it's Sean Stevenson kicking it down the middle of the field, finding a bit of open space. In fact, the Highlanders will have to retreat for this one, about 10 metres out from their line with Jacob Ratamaitabuki Nipkins. And does manage to get that ball into touch. Not his greatest kick with the amount of time that he had to be able to line it up. Last night we had an absolute belter. Newcastle versus Northampton Saints 34-35. All a neutral rugby fan can ask for. I mean, the Premiership every once in a while has one of those games that you wonder why more people don't watch it. I remember, I think it was a couple years ago. This was back before I had a broken sleep schedule, so it might have even been 3 years. And I remember it was actually Exeter Chiefs versus Harlequins. And I decided, because it was 2 a.m., I'd watch a random game of the Premiership. And it was that game, and it ended like 44-42 or something. And yeah, it was one of the best games that I've watched randomly, like outside of a live stream. I just decided I'd have a look. And it was an absolutely phenomenal game. Blues, Caleb has not been dangerous. Talia just over him at the moment. So Caleb has not been in defenders. I've been dangerous on counter. I like Kinney. AJ Lamb, Love, Jordan is consistent. So of those guys, only one of them at the moment is playing on the wing. So who are your wingers? Are you going Will Jordan out on the wing? Are you putting Ruben Love out there like he did have for 10 minutes in the last, or one of the last matches of the AB season where he scored 2 tries? At the end of the day, you still got to find 2 guys to stand in that 14 and 11 jersey. Is the Leah coming back before 27? I think so. And we have there, I think you need to take yourself down to Chiefs Stadium. How far are you from it? So I'm first of all, a whole island away, as I'm in the South Island rather than the North. So a plane ride is probably the best way of describing it, and then probably a little bit of driving too. And we have Loud Thunder at 4:20 a.m. There you go. Today or like yesterday? Was that? Oh no, we had. So throughout the night. Hopefully it stays away. We had a game of the URC that got delayed by about an hour and a half due to lightning strikes, which was unfortunate. Rolling maul here for the Chiefs, sitting about 15 metres out from the line, and it is certainly rolling, making a lot of metres in a hurry here. It's about 10 Chiefs versus 3 Highlanders. McAllister breaks off the back and gets within 3 metres. That was straight in through the side from Falau Fakatava, and I'm very surprised he hasn't been penalised for that, as the Highlanders have managed to get the steal. I don't know how legal that was from Falau Fakatava, but it's going to be put into touch. They're saying there was a knock-on from the Chiefs. I would love to see a replay of that. Now that you mention him, Stevenson is the best option at 14 or 15. A spiral kicking, evasive run. It's best at the moment. We're going to see here the rolling maul. Brodie McAllister breaks away. Now, first crack at it, he got cleaned out, then straight in through the side for Fakatava. I mean, if you're doing that 5 metres out from the line, you better make sure you're not getting caught, because or else you're probably getting a yellow card. Now, 15 minutes into this contest, scrum fee, Mr. All-In. New Zealand won't win the Rugby Championship this year, but they will beat South Africa at Eden Park this year. Says Demon. I think we got good wingers. Says Mr. All-In. Now, coming out the back of that scrum, it is Hugh Renton. Always hit around the jaw of Damien McKenzie. Now, Nareki running this one forward, just giving himself a little bit more time to create his angle. And Narawa, awkward bouncing ball. It's across to Sean Stevenson. Hopefully Caleb Tangitau makes it. Yeah, I hope that, like, the thing is, I think at the moment it's definitely Carter and Tangitau and then Fihi Whirina Norfolk, but I do hope that one of those sevens transfers do manage to get the opportunity this year, just because, like, sevens gives you that fitness that can just keep you going. And if the All Blacks can get the ball out to the wing, like we've seen for the Highlanders in the earlier game, like Tangitau will keep on running. Leroy Carter, he's the same for the Chiefs. If you put it anywhere near him, like he did about a 60-metre run before and just continued back as if he didn't do it. And he's still chilling out on the wing waiting for that ball. Nice run forward though from Sean Stevenson. Gets round one before he is dragged down by Falau Fakatava. Rowe plays half, goes across to Damien McKenzie, who puts up the cross kick straight into the hands of Daniel Rona Filimoni. Has a bit of a handling error there for the Landers, but now the Chiefs, Leroy Carter thinking about the quick throw here. They're going to decide against it, but a good territory gain and really straight into the breadbasket for Daniel Rona. Just ended up running out of space. They had to offload it back in. If not, then Australia better be that rival. Says Mr. All-In. McKenzie, I would say, has already had a much better start to this game than he had the match up against the Tars. I feel another try, says Novmum. Is that because they are currently about 12 metres out from the line with an attacking line out? Because I think so too. 10 metres out. Xavier Rowe goes back across to the right-hand side here. Tupo Vai. Now Rowe up to Akoi. Oh, Tava Nawai, though, he has something to say about it. Manages to get the steal for the Highlanders. And the Chiefs will have to wait there a little bit longer to get their try. Lasanga breaking through. Great pass on the outside to Milu. Just had a bit of a fumble. Leroy Carter tries to suplex him into touch, but Jakarata Maitavuki Nepkins going for the chip in behind. McKenzie Jason pops it up to Stevenson. Now passes out to Leroy Carter. You don't get the nickname Boomfa by not running over the top of people. Almost a clean steal in the breakdown again from the Highlanders. A morning/evening says, please and welcome in. And we have got there on the right, the ABs will be, but I think Australia will beat New Zealand this year because they are overdue for a win over New Zealand. Says Demon. McKenzie goes across to Summer Penny Fee now. Tava Nawai. He was looking in that breakdown trying to find the ball. But Chiefs have still got it. Some good phase play here. McKenzie shut down in a two-man tackle by Bell as well as Sifu Kautai. And the Chiefs are running some good lines, says David the Mold. They're looking extremely dangerous throughout the early stages. So the big thing will be for the Highlanders just to be able to hang on. You know, wear out this early onslaught of the Chiefs and then manage to get that counter when you do get the chance. McKenzie, big shot on him by Tamote. Tava Nawai. Highlanders almost again in the breakdown. Good listening is the comment there from Angus Garner, the type of thing you hear at primary school. But when you do hear it, you're always happy about it. Now passed off. Thomas Umaga Jensen picks up the loose ball. Missed tackle from McKenzie. Ball not free. Slapped back by Summer Penny Fino. I don't know if Umaga Jensen was completely back up to his feet there. They will go back for the original knock on. And will we get scrum feed now for the Chiefs? Australia, Wales are in the competition, or in a competition to see who can lose more ratings. I don't think they know how to beat top teams. I don't see it happening. I think they might lose narrowly at best, says on the right. And also, where's Kiwi Rob? I miss him, says Demon. I'm sure he'll pop in at some stage. And toward 27, that's the biggest you get there. This is Mr. All In. At the moment, 58 tackles have been made by this Highlanders side. They have been defending flat out for pretty much the whole first quarter of this match. But they've still got the 3 points on the board, and they've only conceded the 10 just at this point in time. I'm watching the WWE Hall of Fame from Vegas, says Kiwi Rob. There we go. You asked for him, Demon, and you did get him. Moni Narawa, going for the chip in behind. Cam Miller waiting for the bounce of the ball, and he does manage to get it. Now back across to Jacob Ratamatapuki-Nipkins, who is just inside of his own 22, taken out now. And Key Clock says, you're the man, bro. Thank you very much, mate. It is great to have you here. Of course, we've got plenty more coming. 3 more live streams throughout the night. Hopefully the voice does last as well. Last one will be finishing at 6:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. So we've got 11 more hours of being up for these streams. Nice take from Damian McKenzie under the high ball. Now, that was a big difference between what we saw last week and what we've seen this week. The Highlanders allowed McKenzie to get up for that ball, and I feel like that's where we've seen last week how dangerous it can be to just put that little bit of extra pressure on McKenzie in the aerial battle. But Argentina, thorn in the AB's foot. Tupavai, the standing start round the halfway line. Slowly just trying to continue making the meters here. Oh, that looked very close to forward to Quinn Tupaia. Xavier Rowe. Back across to the left-hand side again. McKenzie will kick it high. This is going to be a dangerous one, but nicely taken by Jacob Ratamatapuki-Nipkins. Maybe just a little bit too much depth on that one. Chiefs going for a bit of a counter-ruck. I think Leroy Carter was pointing at Philemoni's head, thinking it was the ball. He has got that white headgear on. Probably lucky he didn't try and pick it up and pull on it, or else it would have been quite annoying for Philemoni, I would think. Fakatava now kicks that one up. Nicely taken under the high ball for Stevenson. There's been a lot of safety under the high ball for both teams so far. Now back across, McKenzie. It's taken back, so it won't be a 50-22. And it's going to go just dead into the in-goal area. McKenzie disappointed about it, as he was opting to go for that 5-metre line out for the Highlanders, but means that they will go right back to where he's kicked it from. Also should celebrate, or should wish happy Easter to everyone, celebrating heaps of chocolate, chocky and more chocky, says Sebastian. But Wales have good young players, and they have good players. They have good young players, and they have good players. They need a good coach. I think Wales will come good again. The key word there is good, isn't it? There's a lot of good in there. So hopefully there's a lot of good in the future. The question is, who takes the 12 now? Is Geordie back? So I'm not sure if Geordie's back for the July internationals. I would assume that he would be. But I don't know if Razor's going straight back into it. I know that Lester Whainānuku is going to be back. I think is it next year that he's going to be returning? Or is it even actually this year that he might be back and eligible? So yeah, there are a few options in that centre pairing that they may look at. I think that Quinn Tupaia's form has been great, and it would be unlucky for him to miss out on that centre role again. But at the same time, you know, it depends on what Razor's mindset is. Is he going with guys that have done things in the All Blacks jersey from last season? Does that get you a little bit higher up the pecking order, you know, with your reputation? Or is it based purely off form from this year? Yes, I think Australia played their best game all year against Ireland. I think Ireland had their worst game and Ireland still won. Says on the right, and Wales are a long way to go. Coach will cop a lot, says Mr. Holland. Yeah, I think no matter who their coach is, whether they go through 3 more coaches during this tough period of time for the Welsh, like the coach is always the first one to get the blame. And that's why it sucks being a coach. QTO, yeah, says Lee C. The penalty on the halfway line was awarded to the Chiefs at scrum time, so now they are about 15 metres out from the line with the line out. No eggs until tomorrow, says Flesh, and the All Blacks is the test. Says Mr. All, nicely taken by Tupavai, and wait. Okay, it was not straight. I was confused there for a second because I saw that Angus Gardner had his arm up as if to say that it was someone jumped across the line, but the reason they jumped across the line is because that's where the ball went. It wasn't straight as stroke from Brodie McAllister. I see Daniel Leonard-Brown sitting down in the background, hopefully nothing too serious, as he was the late injury replacement for Ethan de Groot. So to see him go down as well would not be good news for the Highlanders props. We have there Wales under 20 are shockingly useless. Like last year and the year before that, Wales need more than a good coach, says Drape. Nicely taken by Summer Penny Fee now. Now McKenzie on the halfway line. Short ball from Tupaia goes to Summer Penny Fee now. In fact, this time it was Jacobson now. Going off to the left-hand side. Wales are going to end the losses streak soon as guys like Morgan, Danny Woods, Tom Bowen, Tom Rogers, these young guys, Will says Neiman. Oh, Timothy Tava Nawai loses his footing again. Now McKenzie. Let's kick this one high. Moni Narua goes up for it, but not able to claim it cleanly. Now Fakatava kicks it downfield. McKenzie just jogging after this one. Knew it wasn't going to be going in a touch. Flings the pass across. Obviously saw Satutu do it last night. Said, I'll do it as well. Now nicely taken by Cam Miller. We'll go for the kick downfield of his own. Back towards the 22. McKenzie was inside, but he now goes outside, so this one cannot go out on the full, and that's going to be very close to it. Nicely taken by Jacob Ratamaitavuki Nepkins. When is the championship kick-off? I believe it is in August that we do see the Rugby Championship coming. July internationals, of course, will be taking place before them, where the All Blacks will be taking on France in their kind of test series side of things. It seemed like a chessboard. Wales is debuffed. Says Mr. Orlin. Oh, Amoni Narua runs forward and actually hits his own teammate in the head in the process too, but there was obstruction against Naitoa Akoi, so that is going to be now Highlanders with another chance. Like I mentioned, they have had hardly any attacking scenarios here, but they aren't out of this game. They are going to go for the 3 points here to make it 10-6. A little bit similar to what we actually saw in the game last night or this morning between Edinburgh and the Sharks. In that contest, we did see Edinburgh score 2 early tries, but they did have the 10 points, and then their opposition, the Sharks, they had 6. And that was the score at halftime. Looks like they are actually looking to bring someone onto the field for Daniel Leonard-Brown very shortly here. And the problem with Wales is the quality of players. Welsh teams are not doing too well, says on the right. Yeah, it's a tricky one to have because, like, they've had a couple young guys out of that Welsh setup that actually look like they're going to go quite far, but they need a lot more than just a couple at the moment. Cam Miller looking to make it 2 from 2. He did get his first kick over of the day. He's got the distance, and it's just missed away to the right-hand side. Highlanders need to strangle McKenzie, says Lisi. Yeah, I think that the Waratahs prove perfectly that if you shut McKenzie down early and you don't even allow him to go for any sort of passes, like, you are going to be able to get that little bit of an advantage over the side. But it's whether or not we would see a New Zealand side be able to shut down McKenzie in the same way. Oh, good tackle made from Daniel Ryan. It did take a knock in the head, though, from Naitoa Akoi, who decided that he'd pass it on. Oh, great run from Jacob Ratamaitavuki Nepkins. He's gone through. He's got the pass on the inside and the outside. Goes to Fabian Holland. Needs the pass, but he doesn't want to throw it. The big man wanted the glory. Now Fakatava for the Highlanders. Just a couple. Oh, that looked like a bit of a roll to over the try line, but he will score it anyway. Oh, bit of push and shove here. Hugh Renton getting involved with Sama Penny Fee now. Right, Sefo Kautai scores the try. He might have injured himself in the process, which I think might have been why Renton did come in and try and throw a player off him. Who's the coach of the Anzac 15 Play Alliance? Isn't Ian Foster involved in that one? A nice step from Jacob Ratamaitavuki Nepkins there. And then Fabian Holland, if he could find that offload to Nariki, probably would have been the try. And then Sifu Kautai, you're allowed one movement, and it was certainly a big one, but he's got himself over the line. It's not the players, it's WRU. Says Bleshin. Hamish, the big guy, wanted the glory. Says David the Mod. And that's the thing. When you are a guy who is fighting for a possible position in the All Blacks, you know, maybe does play a little bit of a factor on your mind. You start to do things that you shouldn't. So True Flesh and that lady running the WRU is clueless. And a draw on the pole. Says Mr. Orlin in there too. But Cam Miller now to line up this kick. And like I said, for the Highlanders, they have been under pressure for a majority of this match. But the big thing has been they conceded once and then they just kept on just grinding it out. and hoping to one day get an attack of their own. And it's taken about 30 minutes, but the scores are back to level now. I want to break out. Ours from my bro Leroy Carter, says Daniel. Nicely taken there from Jacob Ratamatabuki Nepkins. Now, another penalty. This time goes the way of the Chiefs. About 22 metres out, so the ideal scenario when you've just conceded a try. It is right out in front of the stick, so should be a pretty easy decision for the Chiefs here. True that, Flesh. I like the way you think about the odds. Australia have to beat New Zealand eventually. But I think Australia and Wales just need a bit more talent. Says on the right. And we are seeing more guys from that league side of things looking at Union, which is quite nice to see. You're looking refreshed. Did you get some sleep? Not really. I was running very late today overall. Initially, we wanted to do that Waratahs versus Fiji and Raw game, but then it got to about 1 and I hadn't scheduled anything, so I was definitely going to be late for that one if I did it. Mackenzie only just getting that one over, actually hooking it a bit, but the score sitting 13 points to 10. But yeah, it seems to be when I don't cover Fiji and Raw games, they actually play their best rugby. So yeah, it's going to be a tricky decision of whether or not to cover their game next week, because if I do, it may end up... Oh, in fact, no, they might have the bye next week. Now that oh, no, never mind. They're playing Moana Pacifica. Now that I think about it, first game on the Saturday. That'll be an interesting contest. Going to be kicked high now. Nicely taken by Naito Koyu. Just rode out the momentum, and that will be another penalty going against the Highlanders. Is anyone really scared when they are facing Ospreys or Scarlets? Says on the right. Australians' rugby problem is the structure and, of course, money. Says David the Mod. This time, Philemoni, the man who has been penalised for tackling a man in the air. Richie Mo'unga has the inside running for 5'8", and the Anzac team, says Tanai. Philemoni thought he was going to be able to leap up and get it higher than a lock who was being lifted. It didn't work. Now, Xavier Rowe goes back across to the right-hand side. Nicely taken by Quinn Tupaio. Moves up to the halfway line there. Nareki doesn't quite get the turnover. The Highlanders are right in the every breakdown, though. How was the Edinburgh Sharks game? Score suggests it was tight, but not a spectacle. Yeah, it was all right, I would say. It definitely wasn't as good of a game as it could have been. But then I do think that the two sides cancelled each other out a little bit. Plus the Sharks, they really didn't choose to play well until like the last 2 minutes of the game. They only scored, I think it was 2 tries, or it might have only been, oh no, it was 2 with that last try of Makazole Mapimpi. Edinburgh should have won, really. Across the whole board, they had every stat in their favour, but they just didn't score enough points. They weren't clinical enough. And yeah, the most exciting thing that happened was we saw a few yellow cards in the second half for players getting in a bit of a scuffle. That's a huge shot from Thomas Umanga Jensen on Quinn Tupaia. But the Chiefs still managed to keep the ball. 8 minutes remaining now. Kicked him behind Philemoni. That's very nicely. But I think both sides, just to clarify, I think both teams were a little bit more safe. And I think the reason that they were is because it was such an important game to get the points from. The Sharks game was amazing. It was a bad 80 minutes and a glorious 80th minute, says on the right. Yeah, I feel like the last minute try at least made it like more exciting for a lot of people, mainly because we had a lot of Shark supporters in the comments. But yeah, I think that without that last minute try, people would have said bit of a lackluster one. That's a huge shot from Thomas Umanga Jensen on Quinn Tupaia, who got set up with the hospital pass. They get sat down like it was in the NRL. Of course, the Wars actually going to be playing at the moment, I believe. Sharks Edinburgh, scrappy mood, bad moods game, wasn't great. Now nicely thrown in, beautiful steal for the Highlanders. I believe that was Mitchell Dunshay who got up and across. Now 7 minutes remaining in the half, taking it back into their 22. Also even got a yellow for being a dick. When he's walking off, he gave another guy a lot of lip and push. If the card had no impact, as if the card had no impact on behaviour. Yeah, like I said, I'm not the best lip reader, but what I saw was him and Sam Skinner were going back and forth out there on the field. The ref said, nah, get off. And then as Sam Skinner was walking in front of Eben as they're going off, like he was a few metres in front, and I'm pretty sure Eben went, hey, effer. And then Sam Skinner kind of went, and then when you realise it's Eben Etzebeth, you're probably not so keen to engage, but then Eben was talking to him and then gave him a little shove. So they made their way to the naughty cheers. Good evening, buddy. Says Blues, Nate. And 6-0 to the Broncos. Oh, that's not a good start for the Warriors, as we're only, I believe, 10 minutes into that game or something. I don't like Evan. Lots of PR done on him. But still, same shape of idiot. Says Lee C. I mean, there's no denying when he's in form, he's one of the best locks in the world. But a lot of people don't like his, I guess, aggression that he brings into that game. Like, he loves nothing more than having a guy across from him who's willing to get right in his face and just go back and forth with him. I feel like that's when he actually plays his best rugby, when he's fired up and when he's got a bit of a point to prove. It was his first game back after about 4 months off too, so that probably is the reason he didn't look as sharp as he normally would. But, yeah, I think he'll certainly be a key for the Box this year at line-out time. And also just enforcing that physicality. Penalty does go the way of the Highlanders here. 35 minutes in already. And going to be kicked in a touch by Cam Miller. Eben will retire soon anyway, says Lee C. Yeah, although that's the thing. I think it would be a retirement due to probably injury more than anything else. I think if it was up to him and his body was still going well, he'd want to play for another, I don't even know how many years, probably till that next World Cup so that he can become a 3-time, or at least have the opportunity to become a 3-time World Cup winner. Jona Nareki, nicely claimed. They will be sitting about 45 metres out from the line, compared to what they say in New Zealand, no need, says Mr. Orlin. Now, 6 getting told to get out of it. In fact, it was Tupavai. Now Fakatava again will be going for the little kick in behind. They're just trying to play a bit of territory, and that ball, it just keeps running away from Damian McKenzie. It's cool, but how many players are enforcers but are mature? Says Lee C. I mean, there's a couple. Holland looks like he might have had a limp there. I don't know whether or not it was something from maybe the breakdown, but he did not look too flash. It looks like he's going to be continuing, though, which is great news there. Now back across to Jerome Brown, just the 10 metres out from the line. Now the chase, Tava. No, I tried to get over it. I think it's with mongrel is what's missing in New Zealand rugby. We were renowned for it one time. Do you follow Aussie rules, Hamish? Feels like you can't love rugby and Aussie rules. You got to choose. It's either Beatles or Rolling Stones, brother, says Roger. I don't mind a game of AFL. I don't watch a whole heap of the AFL, though, just because, a lot of the games do overlap. But then the thing is, they have games on like Wednesday and Thursday nights, don't they? So I actually could end up, if I really wanted to get into it, I probably could watch it. I don't even know if they're showing it here in New Zealand, I'll be honest. I haven't watched a single game this year. A nice ball up to Hugh Renton. Now back across to the right-hand side to Mofi Tava Nawai. Now again going to the right-hand side. The big run from Ollie Haig. Henry Belt running it at Luke Jacobson. At the moment, the Highlanders have a prime position here to go into halftime in the lead. Thoughts on Highlanders winning here? They've got a chance. I think that it's a lot closer than the 81% that they were given credit for at the start of this game in terms of the Chiefs' 81% chance of winning. It's going to be a kick in behind from Xavier Rowe. Got a lot of distance on it. It's going to go just in the in-goal area, and Philemoni will wait for someone to approach him. Now he does put that one down for the goal line dropout. Sal Mapimpi still has PTSD from being tackled after scoring, always looking for a fight. He was never so aggressive in the start of his rise in the game. It's sad to see him act like this, says the big Seddon. Yeah, he was fired up when they got the try, but then saying that, we don't know what was being said out there on the park before that stage. Of course, 2 guys going off the field for yellow cards for almost fighting. Like, there would have been, as you saw, other players grabbing each other's shirts. Mapimpi probably had a guy in front of him, and maybe words were exchanged there. So it's just very hard to tell whether or not it was a motivated moment, or whether he was just fired up for scoring and decided, hey, I might as well find someone to yell at. Nice hands from Sean Stevenson. Passes on the outside to Leroy Carter again. The tackle made by Thomas Umunga Jensen there. And now around the side of Mooney Nuttall, a beautiful little chip, but it sits up for Miller. It's going to be a knock-on against him there. A little bit unlucky. I think he almost went for a kick almost round the back. A great hand, Chiefs. Says David the Mod. I think refs need to deal with the tackles on the ground at try time. Says on the right. And go the mighty Waikato Chiefs. Says Christoph. Honestly, the refs, like, there are so many things that need to be slightly fixed. Yeah, Cam Miller actually went with a back heel there to try and keep it from being a knock-on, but the referee did see the initial one. Hamish and Chat says Zero, welcome in. And Stack Weekend of Streams, love to see it. Says Zero Connection. And yeah, we were actually relatively organised with how early we did schedule those URC streams. Got 2 matches. I would have loved to do Lions versus Benetton as well, but would be probably about 11 hours in a row if I did that one, which I'm going to be watching it, and I'm a little bit sad that we're not covering it, just because I will have to have food at some point too, probably. And that's a good get to do it. Oh, loose ball. Fanal Fakatava manages to steal it back. I almost called him Fanal Fakatava, I believe. Mixing up the names there. And the penalty goes the way of the Highlanders. Our Warriors to win by a chip and chase. UIC big day today, says Albert. And a very good afternoon from Brisbane, mate. Feeling very tired today. How are you, Ham and the viewers? I'm doing not too badly. I thought I'd be more tired after getting a bit of a lack of sleep, but I don't know why, but I'm feeling wide awake. I see Rassi is already actively busy in preparation for the international season. How's Razor? The mood down under? I haven't heard anything about Razor since the end of November, to be honest. Where are we on the field? The Highlanders just kicking that one into touch, and it will now be a 40-metre out line out. Eben straight back into the fighting. Says Albert. Yeah, we mentioned about it earlier on. I wonder whether or not that's, when you've been away for a while, and I assume Ebenezer is probably a perfect example of this. When you've been away for a while, you probably feel like you lack your edge that you had before your injury. So I don't know whether or not maybe that was just... Oh, they've actually lost that line out there, Highlanders. So Chiefs kicking into touch, and that will be half-time, 13 points to 10. But I wonder whether or not that was Eben's kind of mentality of, okay, I need to fire myself up here. I need to have a reason to be mad so that I can go out there and be a bit more, aggressive and find my next, gear, if that makes sense. Yes, he probably shouldn't have had it with Sam Skinner having a bit of a push and a shove. But, yeah, I wonder if that was maybe the motive behind it. And we hope that Eben could retire from rugby and go straight into the UFC. I think with his amount of head knocks he's had, that would be an absolutely awful idea. Don't get me wrong, he'd probably win a few fights, but if he took one knock, he'd probably be out for quite some time. Wait, do you, Hamish? Do I what? Do I what? I'm confused, Blues Note, I'll be honest. Do I, need dinner in between? Was that where that one was from? That's my problem. I talk too fast and then I forget what I've said. We have got there. Hopefully our Canes win tonight. Will be a really tough game against a determined Western Force. Go the Canes, says John. Yeah, second half of this contest just around the corner. Next game after this will be the Hurricanes taking on the Western Force. Tiny Connor would beat Eben. Says Hanoi. That depends. Is it coked up Connor or non-coked up Connor? Because there's a big difference between those two at the moment. One of them's on about a 4-match losing streak. The other's had some stuff. But these are the matches taking place, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, it is no longer 3 hours and 3 minutes away. It is about 1 hour and 15 minutes. No, that's a lie. 1 hour 45 minutes away from taking place. The Force versus Hurricanes match. And that one, the Hurricanes coming in as the favourites. The Chiefs coming in as heavy favourites for this match up against the Highlanders. But it's very close at the moment. Only the 3 points difference. Same as what we saw between the Crusaders and the Blues at full time. But we've still got another 40 minutes remaining in this contest. We are still waiting for the first Golden Point game of Super Rugby Pacific. We haven't got it yet, but I'm hoping it's just around the corner. Oh, although, if there was an option of choosing if we were going to have Golden Point now or during one of the playoff games, I'm happy to wait. I think a playoff game would be great to see go down to the wire, but looking at what is happening next week, the Chiefs will be taking on the Force on Friday night. The Reds playing the Blues. That is a 9:35 PM kickoff there. Then Moana Pacific are taking on the drawer. Highlanders, Crusaders, Brumbies versus Hurricanes. That's going to be a big weekend of matches there. And while we're at it, we might as well look at the URC. I haven't actually done any of my working out of what I'm doing next week. But in terms of the URC, I think it's a relatively busy week as well in terms of when those games are taking place. Here we go. So Glasgow versus the Bulls on Saturday morning. We will end up covering that one on the channel. Oh, so once again, it would be 7 live streams in a row if I wasn't to miss any. And that's tricky. Oh, in fact, no, 6. 6 isn't too bad. Well, it's still not great. That's like 13, 14 hours of talking. You guys will be very sick of me. You want to be mad, says Bruce. And we have got there, I was thinking of Ohio last time I watched, and also how I choose the AB's team is Ask ChatGPT. Says on the right. And we have got the not cooked up Connor says Hanoi. Pick for the Anzac team, Lonergan, Kalia, Robertson, Swain, Satutu, Lonergan, James O'Connor, and Anton Leonard Brown. How's our American friend, says David the Mod. How's our American friend? Which American friend are we talking? We talking David the Mod? We talking Robert? We talking, who's our other, Katie? She's from America. Who else are our American viewers? We had another David from America as well in the past. Hamish has many surprises when you become a member on the Kiwi Lads. Hashtag no emoji. Says Blues Nate. And as I imagine 7 straight streams with Kiwi Rob being biased. Yeah, it would certainly need a mental health day afterwards, I would say. But you could come cover some games and get other Kiwi Lads to cover the other games. I don't think I could convince them to. Like, we are the Kiwi Lads channel, but I think the last time one of the other guys was on a stream was honestly like a year, maybe? I can't even think of what the last stream would have been, but yeah, it has certainly been some time. Yeah, Katie, I don't think we've seen Katie Dixon in the chat for a good few months. She normally pops in, says hi, and then pops away for a few more months as well. Not many try opportunities, 2 equally matched, says Ruth. Kiwi Rob is a legend. Says Rape, and 4 dominance, says Mr. All-In. And also, we have got Red's going to get a hiding next week. You were at a wedding. When was that? That was in February that I did end up going to that wedding. And they are still together, so that's good news. 2 months, almost, I think. I can't even remember when it was. It was the opening round of the Six Nations, so 2 months and a bit, I should say. Awkward, says Lacey. In what way? I would make a sign saying subscribe to Kiwi or TKL at the Reds Blues game next week, says James. I mean, it's free advertising, I guess, in a way, isn't it? Free Zinger unlocked. Use code WINGER at checkout. KFC delivery only, terms and conditions apply. There we go. For the free advertisement, we've given KFC a bit of a free advertisement. If you want a free Zinger burger and you're in New Zealand, use code WINGER, all in caps, at checkout. And it's delivery only. There we go. Are you going to go game and commentate, obviously, without rotating the camera? No, I don't think so. I think that would be too tricky. Plus, you're also in the scenario of you can't guarantee the Wi-Fi will be good at the ground, and also you can't guarantee that the people behind you will want to be live streamed or that you'll even be able to hear me. If I had a microphone, enjoy the long streams. I try and look after a 4-year-old before bed. That's a lot of sleep I won't get, says TH. Put Kiwi Lads on there. You have a better chance, says Mr. All-In. I'm really mad. I just failed my final exam at the School of, I assume that's magicians. I've never seen magicians spelt that way, but I'm not actually mad about it because it actually looks more like magicians than the way it's spelt. They were all trick questions, says Bruce there. And how's other sports news? F1 I have no idea about, to be honest. UFC, I think there's a week that they've got off this week. Probably because of WrestleMania. I'd say that they wouldn't want it to overlap too much there. NRL, the Warriors were currently down from what I heard. Where's our Yeet girl, Katie, scrum lass? Missing the... at 685 to the world, Mala Usos, says James. But yeah, there's been a lot of sport happening as of late. Of course, when we get into the international period of rugby, we are also going to be covering all of that on the channel, and that might even be a little bit more cruisy than the league kind of matches or the competitions like URC and Super Rugby, we'll probably have less games a weekend. Magicians. So here's Bruce. And there as well. I liked it with the J though, I'll be honest. It's actually Maja, so it seems, although J is go, no, that's not the same. I did go to school, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not. But the English language is a very hard one to get the head around. 3 points difference between these two sides at the moment here. And we will show the bench. There they are, Josh Jacob and Anton Leonard-Brown. I do think that it's worked better having Mackenzie in the starting lineup as the 10. Now, I know that they tried to switch it last week just for fun, but they shouldn't have. I think that it would have worked a lot better with Jacob still coming on as a bit of an X-Factor player. Cortez Ratama also will try and bring that impact with Tolkiaho fighting for a spot. And the ABs, the Highlanders. Daniel Leonard-Brown, he did start this match, but he did go off with the injury in that first half. 23, they have got Jonah Lowe, Sam Gilbert as another one of the back replacements. It's Wane Vakena, of course, the X-Man from the Blues. Going to be there for the Highlanders in the second half. What we will quickly do is we will once again go like this. These are the matches next week, ladies and gents, that are going to be taking place. Quite a few entertaining ones, I do have to say. I think that Reds-Blues game, once again, so crucial for this Blues season. If they don't win that, they start to drop that little bit more. And don't get me wrong, they can still make it to this top 6. But you need a couple big wins in the next couple weeks, I would say, for a lot of these teams to feel fully confident that they will be qualifying. There's plenty of points still left out there. As you can see, the Blues, they are sitting in 8th. If the Hurricanes win up against the Force, that will push the Blues back down to 9th. Moana Pacifica got themselves a win recently. Actually, they lost to the Brumbies recently, I should say, but they will be playing the Fijian draw, so one of those two sides will climb that little bit more. So it's all to play for in the final few rounds. We have got there, I'm not exactly a Sharks fan, but boy, I was glad they denied Edinburgh in the 80th minute. Says Albert, yeah, that's the thing. Like, for the Sharks, they went from pretty much conceding. Like, Ethan Hooker did absolutely phenomenally to turn over the Edinburgh player and hold him up. And then they went pretty much the full length for the field and scored. Like, in stages, I guess you could say. Like, it wasn't all in one go, but it just shows that the Sharks are a good team when they want to be. But unfortunately, they have a lot of moments where they don't seem like they're finding their rhythm. Should be Magicians makes more sense, says Bruce there. And silly question, are the Highlanders in the mountains? Are the Highlanders as in like the team location or like the original Highlanders? Because honestly, I don't know much about history of the Highlanders people. I haven't watched Braveheart, so I'm not too sure where that fits into it. If you do that, buddy, my bro, you have my respect straight up. I acknowledge there's a Blues name. And team location says on the right. So they're down in Dunedin. So Dunedin is quite up and down, I guess you could say. As you go into Dunedin, you have to go kind of downwards. And then it's all, or a lot of it's on a lean. Like, you're always going up or down a hill, at least in some of the residential areas. And then South Dunedin, you're kind of, I think, a little bit lower again, but not like a massive amount. Like, pretty much at sea level. But yeah, there are some high hills in Dunedin. Even Jake White said he can't understand how the Sharks aren't top of the log. All those box in their team. Was that so much as Jake White saying that they're underperforming? Or was that like a compliment to his own team in a way as well? Saying like, hey, we're still higher than them and we haven't got as many Springboks. Should I do a sign at the Blues and Reds game, Hamish? I can take a photo and email you, says James. I mean, if you want to. I don't mind if you don't, though. Like, if you just want to enjoy the rugby, go for it. Like, at the end of the day, like, yeah, it will be a great game for that one, Reds versus Blues. So if you just want to go there and just enjoy the atmosphere, absolutely by all means. Highlanders will take it in the second half, says Chris Hayes, and could be both, says Albert. And Highlanders equals wider range Southern Alps plus Scottish history, says Dyla Turden. And I'm not sure. And Highlanders will take it in the second half, says Chris Hayes. So you're thinking a comeback is on the cards. The thing is, the comeback would only have to be 4 points at this point. So they would have to get 5, of course, because 4 is not possible. Yeah, Jake is very sarcastic in character. Says Lee C. I know they called Highlanders because of their Scottish roots. Says Drape. Yeah, Braveheart. That backside or backstory, I guess you could say. It's a South African notion. Says Lee C. But I do think that Timothy Tavatavanawa has been pretty strong throughout this first half. In fact, he's been right on the verge of getting about 4 turnovers, and every time just ends up slipping off. If we look at recent history, did the Chiefs start slow and finish strong? See, this year they've just been pretty good across the board. Although I think second half they've actually been a little bit slower from their recent games. Does anyone find it interesting that the Northern Hemisphere sports commentators call the Six Nations the greatest international rugby competition in the world, considering only England have won the World Cup? Says David the Mold. I think it's also advertisement in terms of if you call a competition the greatest competition in rugby, a lot more people who are casual viewers will go, oh, that's the greatest competition in rugby, so I shall watch it because I want to watch the greatest competition. So I think it's down to marketing as well. You know, if something's called, let's say, Super Rugby, like people go, why is it super? I want to see. United Rugby Championship, even just having that in the word is, or like in the title of it, it makes you go, okay, champions, important, good stuff. I will stop the Crusaders this year. Says, oh, well, I mean, we've already seen a couple sides take them down, but yeah, it's going to be a tricky one. They're finding some really good form, and it's kind of what a lot of people didn't want to see happen. They didn't think it was going to happen so soon. What is Wallace Satiti doing with a ball on the roof? He has thrown them into the crowd by the looks of it. Just testing out his NFL skills. He's getting some decent distance on it as well by the looks of it. I do love the Six Nations though, says David the Mod. And the Warriors score, says Robert. It was 6-0 the last time I saw. But now, oh, that's not it. One moment. Still 6-0 in that game. Now the Settlers in Otago were predominantly Scots, says Drake. That is correct. And we have got there, just made a bacon, cheese, tomato, toasted sandwich. Delish, Hamish. Says Ruth. I think Europe think that because France and Ireland do well against the All Blacks if they play them in Europe. Says Albert. But yeah, I also do think it's just better marketing, isn't it? If you call the competition the greatest competition, people are going to want to watch the greatest. It's like the UFC calling themselves, the greatest fighting organization. WWE, greatest wrestling, NFL, greatest American football, even though like hardly anywhere else plays American football. With the NFL, still saying it is the best, that's still going to make the ones who are on the fence go for it and at least give it a look. Now 25 metres out from the line. What's up, brother, says Bella, welcome in. Currently the Highlanders, they are down by 3, but they've got a very good chance if they can score early, although they knocked the ball on there, though. Only 15 seconds into the half. It can't be as bad as the Americans, always declaring themselves world champions of their own sports, says David the Mods. But once again, it just sounds better, doesn't it? Like American champions compared to world champions. It just sounds better saying globally. Plus, they still make that argument of, okay, if we're not the best, come beat us. And then no one wants to because it's mainly American sports. To be fair, New Zealand have had our number the last 2 fixtures. Agree with the English part, but the Six Nations is hilarious. Georgia will give Six Nations good runs. Good talks, bud. Says the Blues, Nate. Now scrum feed here for the Chiefs, just inside of Highlanders 22. So a very good position on the field to be. And it's going to be fed in nicely. Luke Jacobson going off to the right-hand side row with a skip pass. Goes through the hands of Daniel Rona. And that is the perfect bounce of the ball to go straight into the hands of the Highlanders. Am I the best boyfriend in the world or greatest boyfriend in the universe? Says on the right. I didn't know you were in a relationship on the right, but yeah. It's just marketing. Just tell her it's marketing. If she asks why you ask, you just say it's marketing. Now going off to the left-hand side, Brodie McAllister. The Chiefs here, they will want that early possession. Looks like Summer Petty Fee now having to chase after this one, but well taken by Cam Miller again. Fakatava goes off to the left-hand side. Dunshay. Looks like, again, they will roll this one back. AB should drop Ruben Love out of the squad and select Cam Miller just for his kicking ability. Love is the most overrated AB I've seen in a long time. Get selected in the ABs. Says SSM, although they are different positions. So it probably isn't the end of the world if they are both in there. Because I don't see them playing Ruben Love too much at 10. Yes, he's playing 10 this weekend, but Cam Miller, I think, is at his best in that fly half jersey. So he's more so battling with Bowden, Damien, and then whoever the third choice would be for them, whether or not that is going to be Cam Miller or whether they look at Jacob or maybe, I don't know who else they would actually consider for that 10. Harry Plummer's gone overseas. Pirafeta, maybe. I'm the captain of my universe. Says Albert. Now, Naitoa Akoi, sitting 22 metres out from the line here for the Chiefs. When you're going on holiday, I'm not sure. I'd like to go on one at some stage in the future, but I don't know when I'll get the time. That's a beautiful kick in behind. They'll just check this one, but I think Leroy Carter has got to the grubber first in the in-goal area and scored it for the Chiefs. Tava Nawai, he got close to be able to ground that ball inside of the 22. We're going to see it here. McKenzie just went across to Quintupai. Great kick and then brilliant pace. Cam Miller trying to cut him off on the outside but didn't have the pace to be able to stop Leroy Carter there. And then, he wins that foot race pretty easy there, Leroy Carter. And let's go to the Chiefs. Says Blues Nate, which is AB's XV and Multi AB's games. He lost some courage. Says Lee C. Cam Miller will get in the AB's XV. And yes, tries, says Novmum. And American Gridiron team got 40 points put on them by the Japanese Gridiron team. Says Drape, when did they play? Because I assume they don't play very often. That's going to be now converted by Damian McKenzie, making the score with 36 minutes remaining. 20 points to 10. So a good lead to have. Score is 20 points to 10. I love the Raiders since the 80s. Long-suffering fan. Is that 20 points to 10 then? It is indeed after that kick was successful, but a very successful one for Quintupai as well, putting it in behind. Leroy Carter running onto it well. So 45 minutes through this contest at the moment. Kicked high by Cam Miller. Nicely taken by Naitoa Akoi. Now Xavier Rowe. Oh, almost had a bit of a juggle of it off the back of the ruck. Rolling this one back again will be Xavier Rowe. And nicely taken by Jacob Ratamaitabuki Napkins. Slips through the hands of Miller. I think ever since Miller got praise in the comments, he's made about 2 or 3 mistakes, which is not ideal. He's just joined into that breakdown, almost had the ball stolen off him, but Fakatava getting in there quickly to keep it on the side of the Landers. Jonah Nariki kicks it in behind, goes to Sean Stevenson. McKenzie now considering the 50-22, but they do have 2 players back. McKenzie once again may have got a little bit too much on it, and it does go dead. That is the second time McKenzie has done that in this contest, and they will have to go a long way back now. The NFL game versus Japan was a couple, years back, youth teams. Says David the Mod. As Emmanuel Nida beat Leon quite a match. Yeah, by the sounds of it, they were down by a couple goals. Well, that didn't look good for Jonah Nariki. It looked like his leg is playing up. He's only recently returned from an injury. My bad, Peter Parker. Spotted me, you lad. I've got Jonah Lowe as an option off the bench. They might have to use him relatively soon if Nariki is unable to continue in this match. Was it? I could be wrong, but I think that... Who was it there? It was the youngster, I think it was Josh Butler. Did he just give a handshake to the guy in front of him in the scrum? If so, that's something that you don't really see very often. Unless, of course, he was doing a handshake with his teammate. Oh, Tava Nawai sits down Jerome Brown and got his head in the wrong place, wrong time. The Highlanders are out of luck and gas. Says on the right, although they're on to attack at the moment. That's a loose ball, though, picked up by Damian McKenzie. As it seems, the contest for the 7th players, the AB setup will be Caleb and Carter. But 11 is owned by Caleb. Wait. And see, but is Carter a good defender? Leroy Carter's very good with his tackling. I don't know whether or not, like, I haven't seen him miss too many tackles anyway. So I don't think he leaked too much out on that wing, just because when you're in sevens for so long, you are literally responsible for stopping tries when you're one-on-one. In a game of sevens, you miss a tackle, the opposition score. And everyone knows who missed it. Looks like Leroy Carter now taken off the field. This is going to be for Anton Leonard-Brown. Interesting switch here for the Chiefs. I've obviously decided that Carter's had enough. And it looks like Jerome Brown also going to make his way off the field for Kalen Boshier. One more try, Chiefs. Let's get it. Says Blues, Nate. Now, someone's going to be bouncing up off a Lau Fakatava. Gets through the tackle attempt of Tupovai. He has a huge amount of space, but no one with him all. Was that a foot trip from Sean Stevenson? I think it's going to be a goal line dropout. Was he changing his line there, Stevenson, on Fakatava? He's holding his knee. I'm going to see it here. He goes for the kick in behind. Well, I mean, Stevenson, he put the leg out to try and block the kick, but in turn foot tripped Folau Fakatava. So, could have been one of those interesting calls that easily could have gone against the Chiefs there. And then, you know, when you're that close to the line, does it become even a possibility of a penalty try? But now, Tavatava Nawai has that ball for the Highlanders. Aitai Akoi tried to get into that breakdown, actually flopped over the top like he was diving into a swimming pool. And around trying to get out of that breakdown. Fakatava back across to Sawani Vakina. Currently 10 points difference. So the Highlanders do need another try, and they need it very soon. Thomas Umunga Jensen. At the moment, the Chiefs and the Crusaders both fighting for that top spot. Now, the thing is, with the playoffs the way that they are, that top spot is actually crucial this year. Yes, normally it means that you face a lower ranked opponent in the playoffs. But this year, the highest ranked loser goes through to the semi-finals. So in this case, at the moment, the way that it sits, let's say the Crusaders lose their game of the playoffs, it would mean that they would still go through because they're sitting number one. Same with the Chiefs if they are the number one seed. Going into those playoff games, that one's going to be stolen in the breakdown from the Chiefs. Folau Fakatava thought it was played, but now McKenzie goes across to Tupai. Chance down the wing, Quinn Tupai goes to Rona. Now McKenzie all gets across for it, and Nariki has no option but to just run this one into touch. But again, the Chiefs' counter-attack has been lethal. They have just been looking to get that steal as quickly as they can, and Jacobson was able to do just that in the breakdown. Kenzie putting in some hard yards. Chakarata Maitavuki, Nepkin's doing well to stop him. And our Highlanders better than their rankings suggest. Where are they at the moment? I believe they're 8th or 7th at the moment, aren't they? They're 7th. They're thereabouts, I would actually say, at the moment. Because when we look through at them compared to other New Zealand sides, they are the team that have lost the most to Aussie opposition. But oh, it's a rolling maul try. And Kalen Boshier, the one who pops up with it. Another try there for the Chiefs. Let's go, Chiefs, says Gabriel. But yeah, I'd say they're thereabouts. They're about middle of the table at the moment, and that's about what their form has been. 3 wins, 5 losses. Still with 30 minutes left, and this one could get ugly for the Highlanders here if they are not careful. But the pre-engagement from the Highlanders in the rolling maul. And then just marching that one forward. And getting over the line with Kalen Boshier. And rings her cowbell. Says Novmum. Looks like a relatively full crowd on one side of the field. They were loving that action. A lot of Chiefs flags. And Chiefs are just little. Critical or clinical, maybe? I'm not too sure what that one would be. Well, that's my bet out the window, says on the right. Yeah, good finish from Kalen Boshier. Didn't even transfer it back to the hooker in that scenario. They just kept on charging, but that is his first try of the season. 29 minutes now. Joseph in the coaching box just looking a bit disappointed with what he's seen throughout the second half. His side were right in at 3 points down going into the second half. Now they're 17 points out of it. Rowe has made his way off the field, and that is for Cortez Ratama. No, he hasn't. They've just put it up on the screen, but Rowe's just playing at the halfback, so I'm not sure what information they have decided to put up, but for now, Stevenson will stay out there, and so will Rowe. Nicely taken by Cam Miller. 40 metres out from their line. Oh no, now they've worked it out. It was actually the Highlanders who made the sub at number 9. That is kicked out on the full by the Highlanders again. That time, Jacob Ratamatabuki Nipkins. Man who sent it a little bit long. And yeah, there is frustration on the face of Joseph and Ben Smith. Just know that they're letting this game slip away. When is the playoffs, says Patrick Brady. So the last round of Super Rugby before the playoffs, I believe, is in early June. And then the week straight after that. So I'll get you. They are all lit, says Lee C. But yeah, last round, or 31st of May, in fact. So about the probably 5th and 6th of June, somewhere around there, is when we get to see the first playoff rounds. It's going to be an advantage now in favour of the Chiefs. Xavier Rowe goes back across to Damien McKenzie. He will try the cross kick. There is absolutely no one out there. Fee now takes the catch and will score the try as well. Runs it right around as a bit of a thank you to McKenzie. Says, I'll make it a nice easy kick for you. And the Chiefs have struck twice in 3 minutes and now sit with a bonus point the way that it is currently. Chiefs have prepared well for this match after a close loss to the Tars, says Gabriel, and bonus point try, says Novmum. Yeah, they are just starting to run away with it here. It was Philemoni who was trying to fight for that ball, but that is great vision from McKenzie to see there is absolutely no one within 30 metres or so of Sama Penny Fee now. And they do manage to bounce back again. Their counter-attack has been, I would almost, well, it's definitely top 3 most clinical counter-attacking games for the Chiefs throughout this year. McKenzie seems to be the Wilkinson of the team, says on the right. He's having a much better game here because they're playing him in his preferred position, playing at number 10 for this match. Last week they chucked him at 15. They stuck Stevenson out on the wing. He has been very strong from the back in this game, Sean Stevenson. So if anything, I feel like this proves to the Chiefs that that game up against the Tars, you know, if you ever talk about a game to throw away, it was that one, because they just decided, I don't know whether or not it was overconfidence or what, but they decided to make all these big switches that backfired. Completely off topic, but when will the next location of the Rugby World Cup be decided after Australia? It's a good question. I think it's in the USA. I could be wrong, but I think that one might already be confirmed. But it's the one after that, I think, that is still being debated at the moment. And yep, says Blues Nate. But now, Xavier Rowe goes back across to the right-hand side. McKenzie kicking it from inside of his 22. Goes to Jacob Ratamatabuki Nipkins. Warriors 6 overs. The Broncos at halftime. Oh, nice run from Ratamatabuki Nipkins. He's got the man on the left-hand side, but passes it straight to Anton Leonard-Brown. So again, Chiefs right place, right time, getting that turnover. Now, Rowe puts it back into the pocket to Moni Narua. And he's just proven why he doesn't normally kick. I'm not sure why he was in the pocket with Sean Stevenson directly behind him. I would have thought you'd go for the man's long boot rather than the man who kicks twice a season. It was a good breaking run from Jacob Ratamatabuki Nipkins initially, and just couldn't quite link up with any of his teammates. But now, chance about 18 metres from the try line. USA eating up all the competitions, Olympics, Soccer World Cup and Rugby World Cup. Says 0. Now it's one in for Kena going to the front, and it is a nice set rolling maul. Rowe now has gone off the field for Cortez Ratama, and that time it has been confirmed. Now Lasanga. It's been a bit quiet throughout this game. Jonah Lowe, he is on the field for Jonah Nariki. And the Chiefs get themselves another penalty. Va'i almost getting involved with Lasanga. Referee says easy, you've already got the penalty. Oh, he considered taking the quick tap there, Va'i. Fahavazing, you're welcome. Says Gabriel Chand. And can the Highlanders get back to a reasonable score? It's going to be really tough. And Chiefs next game at home, away from home. Says Novmama, do the Highlanders have a chance of a comeback, or are they done for? They're down by 24 points with 24 minutes to go. So it's not unheard of for a team to score at that quick rate. But, you know, it would have to take a very, very strong last quarter of the contest. Nice run from Kalen Boshia. Definitely because I don't think the Chiefs are done scoring. I think they're going to bring up the 40 in the near future. Samapini now passes on the outside to Amoni Narua. Cortez Ratama winning the foot race. They may just check. Oh, nice work from Jacob Ratama to Buki Nepkins. I was about to say maybe they will check to see whether or not he was onside. Naked on the halfway line from Kalen Boshia. Fires it across to Sean Stevenson. So much space here for the Chiefs to work with. McKenzie breaks through one. Tries to get Philemoni to make the tackle on him. Offload from Naitoa Akoi. Oh, McKenzie not even watching for that one. Doesn't manage to clean it up though. He thought that his work had been done. He was just enjoying watching on. Seeing the Chiefs on attack. Good attack and run forward. Nice offload. Kalen Boshia gets his double. He's gone the whole season without scoring. Now he's scored 2 in 2 games. Well, 2 in almost 2 minutes, but 2 in the last 10. I'm not asking for a win, just asking to lose within 14 points. That's all. Well, that looks very unlikely at the moment as Kalen Boshia gets himself another. I mean, Amoni Narua's little chips in behind have been absolutely phenomenal throughout this game. They've put all sorts of pressure on the Highlanders defence, and then a nice offload from the ground from Brodie McAllister to be able to free up Boshia. And it just seems like there's a lack of defence coming in at the moment for this Highlanders side. They're missing tackles. What's happening here with the Highlanders team outstairs roof? Yeah, it's certainly hurting them. And the Chiefs, they certainly want to take that number 1 spot back. And I should mention, if the score remains the way that it is here, they will be back to that number 1 spot. They will overtake the Crusaders. Will this put the Landers if they lost by a lot? I believe they still... Oh, actually, I know why you're asking, Kiwi Rob. I think they'd drop behind the Blues. Yes, they would. Well, theoretically, they would have to lose this game by 32 points. And at the moment, it's not a mile off. They're down at the moment by 31. So for the Blues' sake of moving up the table a little bit more, you'll be hoping for the Chiefs to get a couple more tries here. Chiefs always dominating in the second half, says Gabriel. And the Chiefs back in business, says Blues Nate. But yeah, 41 points after 59 minutes. They are just firing on all cylinders. Oh, what a take that is from Quinta Bai, but then has the ball knocked out of his hands, knocked on by Jacobson. And now Zoane Vakena. It's the ball for the Highlanders. Takiaho now onto the field for Brodie McAllister. A bit of a loose ball, but it's picked up by Timothy Tavatavanawa and dropped by Philemoni. And Chiefs have now got the ball back. 20 minutes to go, long time in rugby. That is true. Although 31 points down is also a very big margin to be losing by, as the Highlanders will be well aware at this current point in time. They are showing the live standings. Actually, if that stays this way with 31 points difference, the Highlanders would actually be in 8th anyway. That is due to, I think, points difference would be identical, but the head-to-head result, I think, is what puts them above. Adamator wants stronger teams in the competition. Can't stand a Premiership NPC competition. Twice in Super Rugby competition, says Lee C. But now, ready to put this ball in. It will be Cortez Ratama. And Blues go ahead. Says Kiwi Rob, that is true. If it sits the way that it is currently, or if any more points are going to be scored by this Chiefs side. Nicely taken by Philemoni. Tackled by Daniel Rona. Kiwi Rob should be Kiwi Rob, the sideline reporter. The Highlanders can't buy a break at the moment, says Fleshin. Yeah, at the moment on the halfway line. They've got a quarter of this match to go, and the Highlanders, at the moment, they'd need about 2 or 3 tries just to cancel out that bonus point that Chiefs have created. McKenzie, oh, big knock on there. In fact, no, it's gone backwards, says the referee. But Dunshane now for the Highlanders has got the ball. Oh, knock on there from the Highlanders half, but he was played at. So it means that the penalty will go the way of the Highlanders. And Crusaders and Chiefs playing each other soon, says on the right. Oh, I think they've already played each other twice, haven't they? Crusaders Tars, Chiefs Moana, Crusaders Brumbies. Oh no, sorry, Crusaders Chiefs, my apologies, 10th of May is when they will be playing. So that's week 13 of the competition. And I would say at that point, that will determine who finishes number 1. 10th of May, says Kiwi Rob. 10th of May says no, mum, not yet. One left, says Gabriel. And Kiwi Rob has to be from New Zealand, says Ruth. That is correct. 5 metres out from the line now. Highlanders have got themselves the line-out opportunity. But now, sitting 7 metres out from the line. The Force have really a great chance of winning later this morning, says Kevin. Yeah, that game taking place in only an hour and 10 minutes' time. We will be covering it on the channel as well. So Wani Vakena just patiently waiting. Oh, Summer Penifina told he's actually allowed to go through where he did, which is going to tie up this rolling maul. And the Highlanders are going to struggle to get this ball out. And scrum feed goes the way of the Chiefs. That is a massive booster for them once again. Chiefs must defend, says Novmum. It's now going to be the scrum here for the Chiefs. Summer Penifina looking exhausted at the moment as this game has been played at quite the rough tempo. Yeah, just getting in there was Summer Penifina now. Jolly good stuff, Chiefs, fantastic, says Moa Hunters. Now another scrum. Right, referee's pretty much said once again, do not lean in those scrums or else he will end up penalising someone more than likely. Well, we will go like this, and we will go like that. There we go. Right, now another big push there, and the penalty goes the way of the Chiefs again. Just a little bit too much wheeling at scrum time is the comment from Angus Gardner. Number 18 dropping his bind. So that is what he's going to be penalised for. The next contest that is taking place, it is going to be the matchup between the Western Force and the Hurricanes. I'll be honest, with 17 minutes remaining, I'm still feeling relatively wide awake. So I am considering doing that Lions versus Benetton game as well. Now, by the end of the night, I might regret that decision. But currently, I think I'm feeling wide enough awake that it would be possibly a decent option. So if that is a game you guys do want to see, do let me know. We can try and make it happen. Cortez Ratama going back across to the right-hand side to Damien McKenzie. Leroy Carter is still awesome, says Ruth. Nicely taken by Sam Gilbert. Goes back across to Jacob Ratama to Vuki Nepkins. And Paul Holland playing with a bunch of rookies, says Crimson. Yeah, he's had a solid game, Fabian Holland. Some good runs. Some nice work in the line-out too. But Highlanders just haven't quite been able to get this one going. I see oh no, McKenzie does drop that ball. He saw him off there. Tava Nawai charging at him. What time will the 1:55 p.m. game finish? Or 1 a.m. game finish? So they have something to watch at 4 a.m. says Kiwi Rob. So the 1:55 game will finish at about probably 3:50. Somewhere around there. I wonder if the Chiefs know they have the bonus point in. I would say so. I think that with the Highlanders only being able to score once and the Chiefs just running them in for fun, they'll know that they're in a good situation here. And with 15 minutes left, I think they'd also be absolutely gutted to lose it from here. Right, patient and square, says Angus Gardner again. Now ready to feed this ball in. It will be the replacement 21. Highlanders right in it until the national anthem, says Alan. Oh, Tava Nawai. Oh, that was almost nice play from Cam Miller. Tried to go on the inside to Sam Gilbert. There's going to be another penalty to the Chiefs. They have gone back-to-back penalties in quick succession here. Sorry, Hamish, those later games will be past my bedtime. ODB Young says Moa Hunters. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty brutal time. But, yeah, with how wide awake I am at the moment, it could, of course, change because the last live stream will be finishing in about 10 hours' time. But for now, we're doing all right. So we might look at that Lions-Benetton game, even if it's not as serious of a stream as some of the others, and we just have a bit of a chilled-out watch-along. We need the Force to win, or the Hurricanes will jump the Blues. Will Chiefs move up to first place after this game? They certainly will, if it remains the way that it is currently. So all they needed was a bonus point win, and that is what they've been able to do in quite a statement victory. Good run from Quinn Tupaia, going straight at Lasanga. Now, Cortez Aratamo again, back to Simasoni Tolkiaho. One of my cats climbed onto the roof and now can't come down. I have to climb up and rescue it, says Ruth. Cats seem to have a brilliant ability of that, finding a way up onto a tall thing and then realising they can't get down from said tall thing. Big shot there on Jared Prophet, looks towards the referee, asks whether or not maybe it was a high tackle on him. Leonard Brown for the little grubber in behind. Jacob Ratamaitavuki Nepkin's going to be played on the ground by Leonard Brown. Quick tap taken by Ratamaitavuki Nepkins. Tries the grubber, taken out a bit late from Amoni Narawa. Now the Chiefs back in possession with 13 minutes remaining here. Back to the left. Big shot on Taukiaho. Tries to drive his legs, but it's knocked on by Finau. It's an advantage now, Highlanders. I think they were asking for the scrum, but the referee said we've still got time and the ball is still on your side. Highlanders, they don't want to give up, but they are just in a situation here. It's going to be so tough to be able to fight back from this. New Zealand should reduce the clubs to 4 teams, the 4 semi-finalists from Bunnings NPC, go through to the next Super Rugby comps. I mean, it's an interesting idea. The trickiest part, though, is what happens if, let's say, for instance, your top 4 sides from NPC are Auckland, Northland, Counties Manukau, and Hawke's Bay or something like that. Then that means that Highlanders and Crusaders both not going to be in the comp. But that one's gone straight down in the front row again. Now 12 minutes remaining. Highlanders just trying to find any way of stopping that bonus point of the Chiefs, but it's going to be tough to do. They have been the much more clinical side. But the sad faces from Highlanders will win Super Rugby 2025 year with 31 points down. It's not looking great for them. But the good news is the competition is that close that any side can still theoretically get into that top 6. So it is not over yet. Currently now scrum feed once again for the Highlanders. They will go off to the right-hand side. Little chip in behind, attempted from Jonah Lowe, but straight into the hands of Stevenson. That is a big kick, and it's going to be bouncing awkwardly. Cam Miller is ready for it. Kicking it towards the sideline, one in the 50-22, and he does get it. Which does give the Highlanders now the line out from inside of the Chiefs 22. Wellington, Hawke's Bay, Taranaki and Waikato, says Blues Nate. And also, surely Hurricanes lose, says Highlanders will win. I mean, they come in as favourites, but up against the Western Force in Perth can sometimes be a tricky task. Just ask the Highlanders. If their Super Rugby teams are regional, NPC is provincial, says Tasman Marco. Says Blues Nate, nicely taken by Mitchell Dunshay. Now Low runs forward 10 metres out. Oh, it's just going to go out of the hands. And it's going to be knocked on by the Highlanders again. Just at the crucial moments, they haven't been able to hang on to it the way that they would have liked to. We have the LEC, thanks. I'm climbing up my plant shelving. Now it's easier walking on the side wall. Then onto the roof. If you've got the Bay Blues, Nate, says Kiwi Rob. Josh Jacob, he has made his way onto the field. That is for Sean Stevenson. So I believe Jacob will take on that fly half role, whereas Stevenson coming off means that McKenzie shifts to fullback. And up the Chiefs, says Brian. Yeah, they will be sitting right at the top of the table at the end of this round. But with the two sides playing in only about 3 weeks' time, it will be a top-of-the-table clash, and it will certainly be one to keep an eye on. Western Force next week. Aussie Outback Kangaroo, tough team, says Ruth. Now, going to be fed in again by Cortez Ratama. And that one's collapsing at the scrum. Passed across to Quintubai now. Damien McKenzie consider going for the cross kick. He will kick it in behind. And just waiting for the bounce of the ball. No one touches it in the end, so it will be a Highlanders line out. About 40 metres out from the try line. It's not an easy one at the moment, that is for sure. If it's the Bay. Oh, it's the Bay as we beat Hawke's Bay in the Battle of the Bay. Okay, they are just making sure that the Chiefs do get back on the line. But now, another line-out chance here, and the Highlanders have been able to take it nicely. On off to the left-hand side to Mothi Tavanawai. Now pick and go from Adam Lennox. Goes with the ball on the inside, and it's another knock-on from Zoani Vakena. It's just become repetitive at the moment from the Highlanders. Every time they get half a chance, side of the opposition half, they've just dropped the ball. If the Highlanders keep giving the ball, they will give away more tries to the Chiefs. Exactly right. Definitely because of how dangerous the Chiefs' counter-attack has been throughout this matchup. Let's go to Hurricanes Blues. I need you to win a big margin. I've seen 13 handling errors. Stevenson's sad story after he has left. Says Lee C. 7 handling errors from the Chiefs as well. So it hasn't exactly been their best game handling-wise, but almost double that is what we've seen from the Highlanders at this point of the match. So it's just not where they'd want to be, that is for sure. And that is another penalty at scrum time. Seulamo just looking at the ref going, listen, I don't know what I can do here, because it's just going down every single time. He feels like Seulamo overhit. And that one up against, I believe it is Jared Prophet. And let's go, boys. Landers need something special. They certainly do. Seeing the penalty breakdown. 4 against the Highlanders at scrum time. Seeing 3 against the Chiefs for the ruck and the maul. 8 minutes left. I feel like we've hit a stalemate. Like, the score is, of course, one-sided, but these two sides seem to have stopped what they were doing about 10 minutes ago, and now we're just at that waiting phase of seeing the game end. Nice skipping over that one from Amoni Narua. Chiefs in possession about 30 metres out from the line. Landers should just keep defending, says Gabriel Channon, handling and fumbling. It's desperation by the Landers, says Ruth. Now, Cortez Ratama looking both ways. Off to Tupovai. Or in fact, no, sorry, it was Jimmy Tupo that time. Now, nice run from Quinn Tupaya. Handling and fumbling. It's desperation by the Landers. And what do you think of Aidan Ross? Possibly being an Aussie rugby player for the Lions tour. Be an interesting one. I assume you're talking Aidan Ross rather than Adrian. If you're saying Adrian, I'm not sure who that is. But yeah, if you're saying Aidan Ross, it would be a decent option for the Aussies, I would say. Right, they've got a decision to make here, the Chiefs. They decide to go for the scrum in the middle of the field. Stevenson should have taken Dolphins steals. Moses Leo doing all right in the NRL. Says Blues Nate. So who's Leo actually playing for at the moment, Blues Nate? Do let me know. I didn't actually realise he was in the NRL. Now, oh no, sorry, they did kick this one into touch. Sitting about 5 metres out from the line. They've already scored off a rolling maul for the Storm. Nice. And go the Chiefs, says Reed. Now, Samasoni Taukiaho. Wouldn't mind getting himself on the score sheet before the end of this game. The Chiefs still have a chance of bringing up 50 if they can get 1 or 2 in a row here in this rolling maul. We'll get them a long way towards it. Taukiaho hanging on to this one at the back. Breaks away and goes over. So it's another try for the Chiefs. That will bring them up to 46. They are close to the 50 up against the Highlanders here. Rolling mauls, they have been a talking point all throughout this round of Super Rugby. A lot of teams trying them. Not many actually doing them successfully, but the Chiefs being very clinical throughout this match with them. Sunday Rugby tomorrow, yes, says Reed. That is true. We got the URC all throughout the night. It will be happening on the channel. Ratama just calling the shots at the back of that rolling maul. And just gets over with a dominating carry. And Chiefs might get another try, get the 50. Says Noman. The thing is, they've still got time. That's the scary thing for the Highlanders here. Their points differential has gone down the gurgler. 10 seconds for Damien McKenzie to get this kick over. I think they should be a stand-down player or period for rugby coaches and players. He missed it, says Kiwi Rob, so I will make the score 46 points to 10 after 75 minutes, but Taukiaho does get that try. Now 4.5 minutes remaining. It's just a try fest for the Chiefs. Yeah, I mean, I don't think many people would have anticipated this scoreline at the start of the game. Yes, some people said it might be a bit one-sided because the Chiefs would want redemption after losing to the Tars, but I didn't see anyone picking them to win by 40 or 36 at the moment. There's still time to get another one, though. Nicely taken by Anton Linnett-Brown this time. Now, Cortez Ratama goes back across to Samasoni Taukeiaho McKenzie with the wide cut-out pass to Daniel Rona. He will kick it down the middle of the field, giving it to the Highlanders to be able to run with. Here comes Cam Miller. He's actually looked better in the second half than he did throughout the first, so I'm not too sure what's happened there. Maybe a little bit of a reshuffle in that back line has done wonders. Cortez Ratama going to the short side now. And another kick attempted by, I believe it was Daniel Rona, picked up by Naito Akoi. And another penalty will go the way of the Highlanders. 3.5 minutes left now. They will have the chance to kick this one towards the corner just to get their bonus try, I guess you could say. Of course, it will not be a bonus point, though. Take care, Chris. Says a zero connection. I'm jumping off. Have a good night. So we will see you probably next week. But anyone who is just tuning in now, our next game that we are covering will be happening in 55 minutes' time. And that is a contest between the Hurricanes and the Western Force. I'm also very tempted to do all 3 games of the URC that are taking place. So we'll probably end up scheduling that one in between these next 2 live streams so that it does transfer straight over to it for the next match. Yeah, Force Hurricanes, the next one on the cards for us here. Soani Vakina throwing it in. It's over the top though, and McKenzie takes it for the Chiefs. Linnett-Brown will try his hand at kicking and does manage to get it into touch. Chiefs, says Gabriel. And 36 points down now, that is correct. Still 2.5 minutes remaining. So it could still feel like an eternity for this Highlanders side if they can't get something going. A line out for Zoani Vakina. And Chiefs just keep scoring more tries. Little chip behind Timothy Tavanawa. In fact, that time was Lasanga. Sits down McKenzie, but he loses the ball in the process. Now Daniel Rona again out wide. Goes to Josh Jacob. The Chiefs move up to the halfway line. Jacobson finds Tupai in behind McKenzie. Has a bit of a juggle. Gives it off to Narawa, who this time has dropped the ball. How's Leroy Carter doing today? He had a very good game out on the wing. He had a big 60-metre break. Scored himself a try. And yeah, got to come off the field quite early, which was a bit of an interesting choice. But I assume that was just down to a bit of rotation or maybe a bit of an injury that we didn't really know about. But yeah, he's looking dangerous. 90 seconds now. Highlanders have got themselves a scrum feed. They've given away 4 scrum penalties in this match. Although, all right, tonight or today at training, we are going to learn how to catch. Says Highlanders, yeah, about 15 handling errors from this Landers side. So, just not good enough, I think, is the way I describe it, which sounds harsh, but it's the reality, sadly. However, there, mate. A second half winner, eh? Says Mr. Allin. Oh, free kick for the Highlanders. They've got 1 minute left now, so I assume that they will just look to take this one quickly and get going again. Right, Lennox has decided that he'll go off to the right-hand side to Hugh Renton. I think that's almost one of his first carries, or at least the first carry that we've said about. Are you doing the Canes? We certainly are. And then possibly 3 games of the UFC after that. So a lot of commentary still to come. And hi, says Chad, welcome in. Now Timothy Tavanawa runs it straight at Jared Prophet, who drives him backwards. That's something that the Highlanders haven't been able to use too well today, and that is Timothy Tavanawa. The Chiefs shutting it down well now, going off to the right-hand side. Amoni Narua just in from the sideline, cutting back inwards now. I was here yesterday, says Chad. Off to the left-hand side. Jacobson goes to McKenzie. Linnett-Brown, looks like they want one more try here for the Chiefs. Passed out wide to Daniel Rona. Jogging, he isn't touched there though. And that will be the full-time whistle. 46 points to 10. A dominating game here for the Chiefs, who do go top of the table now. Blues haven't rotated for weeks. It's pretty bad, says Lee C. And full-time already, says Kiwi Rob. Yeah, that game absolutely flew by. It only took an hour and 40 minutes to play, which means we got about an extra probably 20 minutes or so that we normally wouldn't have in between. So yeah, I might end up scheduling that Benetton versus Lions matchup for around 11:40. Nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all in about 50 minutes' time for the match between the Canes and the Western Force.